Okay, Michael, thank you for joining us. And we've invited you here to share your experience with adaptive rock climbing. So I'll hand it over to you.
Oh, thank you very much, Sal. My name's Michael Tarouli, and just give you a brief background on my injury. I've got a very low lumbar injury from a vehicle accident I happened to have in 1993. So many years ago, it's almost 30 years ago. So I'm an incomplete paraplegic. I walk with the aid of a crutch and a raised hill. My gait is not even, so I do walk with with some labour and fatigue, but I don't rely on a wheelchair, although I did rely on a wheelchair initially for 10 years until I actually went to physio with intensive physio and had my both legs up and running, so to speak. But I did get involved with wheelchair basketball on a national level. And then I fell out of sport altogether. I concentrated on my rehab and gym, which I found was a good outlet for my, I guess, my physical outlet, so to speak. So I've been invited here today to talk about adaptive climbing, which I was introduced to by a physiotherapist by the name of Katie Kaminski. There was an invite for me to come out and trial it, and I was probably one of the inductees to do this regarding an organisation and to be part of a team that would enable people who were interested in rock climbing to continue on as a sport. So I went out and did the first climb. It would have been about 2019. I fell in love with it. I actually did my first climb. It was quite scary. It was challenging. It was an individual sport, which I preferred to then as team sport, hence why I fell out of basketball. Team sports are not for everyone. So indoor climbing was one that I fell in love with. And then after that, I tended to go back again to do work with a team of dedicated volunteers. It's a physiotherapist. Katie Kaminski was one that worked with myself and a few other people that are volunteers, able-bodied volunteers, to help people like myself get harnessed. So you've got your equipment, and they call it top rope climbing. So basically you've actually harnessed to a winch right at the top of the wall. So you've got a belt and someone belays and supports you as you enable to go up the wall. Now, with my level of capacity, I have very limited use of my legs. So I mainly use my upper body. Now, I'm quite strong in the fact that I can hold, grip and hold onto boulders. With my right leg, I can stabilise, pause when I'm halfway if I get too fatigued, and push off of my right if I need to. My left tends to not have great strength. However, what I can do is stabilise myself in a position that I can recover from exhaustion and regather my strength to go again. So I'm not a speedster. People like myself aren't speedsters, although there are a few athletes, disabled athletes, that are very quick. I'm on the low end scale, but I do eventually go up to a wall. Now, each climb is scaled differently. So we have like a rating of about 1 to 30. number one being the easiest way to get up the wall, 30 the most difficult. Now I'm probably about 11, 12. That's the capacity I'm at the moment. I'll get into I got into it in 2019, but then COVID hit, and which limited my capacity to go out and do it more often. It was a shame that the gym closed and I was cut off from climbing. That was my lifeblood in a way. So what we did as a group, we formed a committee. We called ourselves Adaptive Climbing Victoria. There's about a group of about 8 of us now. There's probably, I'd say, 2 able-bodied, and the rest are all got different disabilities. So we enabled to form a committee. We wanted to take this climbing into the next sphere of paraclimbing. We wanted to make it a sport into the next Paralympics, which I believe has been inducted. So it is going to be a sport, an outright sport. There is classifications. We have classifications with regarding amputees, people with cognitive disabilities, which may include ABIs, cerebral palsy, spinal injury classifications, and they're kind of, look, the classification is still in its infancy. However, we're going to model ourselves on what the world standards are based on. I think each country has their own level of classification, but we want to actually match ourselves with the world standards so we can actually compete internationally. And I believe, as we speak, there are 2 members on our committee that are actually competing overseas at the moment, World Championships. So during COVID, we formed a committee and we set out goals to actually start up with these come and try days. We have had a few, I reckon about probably 6 to date. So come and try it days are invited for people who have never tried climbing. And there are a lot of people out there that are wanting to give it a go. So they come out, they register themselves, they come on the day, and we assess their capability of moving, you know, whether they've got full extent of their arms or legs. We have physiotherapists sizing them up to see what best apparel they should have with regards to belts or harnesses and vests. Obviously, if someone has a higher injury, spinal injury, well, they'll need a full vest that covers their top half here to their bottom. So they're not leaning too far back, but they're close to the wall. So they have more control. And people who have a greater control, well, they'll just simply have a belt around their waist with harness to the rope. So it varies on the day what people are best suited up to. We have dedicated volunteers. These volunteers, you could call them professional climbers because they do it day in and day out. So they're very good. They actually do top lead climbing. So in other words, they climb the walls, harness a rope in a position, climb up to the next one, harness themselves to another position. So these guys are very good at their job. So we have them side climbing next to the participants. So they are supported not only physically, but they also supported morally and just guiding them up the wall. We've had a lot of positive feedback from our past participants. They want to go again. Unfortunately, we don't have our own premises to actually do this on our own. We need to ask managers of gyms who kindly allow us time in a day, let's say Sundays, like from 9 o'clock to 12, to utilise their gym so that we can do our come and try days, which we pay out of our own accounts. We're a not-for-profit. However, we are under the auspice of Sports Climbing Victoria. So whatever we do, we have to get the green light by them. So we have to fund our own equipment, fund our own utilisation of the space at the gyms. But the volunteers, we don't pay them, obviously. They do it out of their own kindness, and, you know, they're keen to help us out. So we've been given equipment through a grant from, there we go, thank you, Sal, from kind donations from like Bendigo Bank and others, like sports climbing equipment. So we've got enough equipment and storage to utilise the space that we can climb up. We've got, like I said, dedicated volunteers. We intend to branch out from the Brunswick gym. This is North Walls, what you're seeing now, set out in Brunswick, which is Hope Street, which is off Sydney Road. However, we want to expand to other centres such as in Altona. There's a big one just established in Blackburn. I believe it's the largest one in the Southern Hemisphere. There's one in Seaford. So there's 4, and the ones in the city, I'm not too sure about that. We haven't approached them, but there is a ground support on the ground from management from these gyms to have us attend on a Sunday or any other day that they prefer us to operate. Our next move, actually, from the participants we've already had and the volunteers, we've agreed to actually have Mondays, casual Mondays, they're called. So people who want to do it more often, we've set aside Monday evenings, let's say. This is not concrete, but we're actually devising times and groups to have between 5 and 7 in the evening. So you'll have volunteers like these people on the screen attend between those times with participants that will just rock up, and then we'll do a climb. So and management are quite happy for that to occur. As you can understand and appreciate, these centres operate for profit, so they need people, economies of scale. They'd like to have as many people come in within reason if there's enough space. But with us, we occupy probably half of the space because of the wheelchairs and the side climbers with the participants. So that they need to forego, and a bit of that profit for our usage of the space, which is nice of them. So that's where we are at the moment. There's me. I think I just had a climb there. I look pretty exhausted. So at the moment, we're probably good with support, sponsorship and donations and volunteer numbers and participants. We just need probably the space to have our climbing experience. And that's probably the only limitations we have at the moment. And we probably need a little bit more equipment because, as I've found out, a lot of people, given their limited mobility, a lot of people on the way down catch their knees and feet, which causes abrasions. So they need to have knee pads, and we're in dire strait for knee pads and elbow pads if needed. There has been never a nasty fall or anything like that I've ever experienced, so it's entirely safe. And if I implore anyone that wants to do an activity such as this, I would encourage them to attend the next Come and Try Day, which we're setting up in September. And I'll send out registrations for anyone who's interested. So, Sal, I've probably said enough, but I'm open for questions.
That was great, Michael. Thanks for that. Just a question. You mentioned, spinal cord injury.
Yes.
Now, I imagine, paras would be great this with their hand function. But, some of us, I guess, you'd say would be quadriplegics, where I've got a little bit of weakness, and others with, limited hand function altogether. Is there a way that they can apply themselves to this climbing program that you have?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, so they're given a full vest so it supports their upper body.
Yeah.
They also look, whatever dexterity they have with their fingers or hands, they can still grip as much as they can. The belayer can actually lift them up as much as they can or are allowed, providing that the person is comfortable with that. And if they're comfortable with people assisting them on the side, with lifting their legs to get that, tactile sensation, because it's not all about, utilising your whole body to climb. No, climbing's more an experience of actually, utilising whatever muscles that they have, to actually lift, push off, hold on to. And the feeling of being so high up is so exhilarating. It's just, I can't describe it. At first, it's kind of scary, and that wall's quite high. That's an 18-footer, I think. So, and you don't need to go all the way up. If you don't feel comfortable, they'll just say, okay, we can always go down. So I think that there is scope for that, and we have the right equipment for people with quadriplegics. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Duke, you're never short of the question, mate.
Hang on, just before you do, just following up Josh's question. This looks like somebody who has upper limb.
Yeah, that's Sam. He's I think he's, don't quote me on it. He might be cerebral palsy. I'm not entirely sure with his condition, but he had very limited mobility. I haven't seen Sam for a while, but he used to climb on casual Mondays as well. He would go as far as, I'd say, a third of the way of the wall, because he would tire very quickly. But when he got down, he was, you could see the elation and the achievement written all over his face. But yeah, he's very limited in his mobility. I've probably come across him as the most severe of the participants.
But it does give you an idea. Obviously his hand function isn't super good.
No. He's using his fingers there.
Yeah.
He can still hold on. Those shoes he's got there, they're proper climbing shoes. So he's got them he got them from the store. So they grip onto those boulders there. So at least he can still have that sensation of holding onto it, We've had visually impaired climbers, and they are pretty good, because these people are ones that have come out, they spread their arms around looking for the next boulder to climb up, and it's really good because then you've got a support next to the climber saying, yeah, keep reaching out, yep, you've got it, So they've got that sound support, and if they need, physical support, they will get it, but they'll have to ask for it though,
And this is an example of the harness you were talking about too.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So you can see it's strapped right. He's got that crossover on the back.
Yeah.
Which, and the belayer, the belayers have got this, probably, sorry, I don't have, if you can go back, so there's another one that she's set up for Sam, but there's also people who are heavier They also have one that is like with a foot down the bottom to even push off.
I think I saw one of those.
To get that extra leverage. Sorry, I wish I had actually done this, but sorry, I didn't.
That's okay. We'll mumble along.
Yeah.
I think I saw a photo like that.
Yeah. And if you keep going, I can tell you which one it is.
Look at that handsome fellow.
Yeah, why is he on there?
Yeah, I think it was down this way. Sure, I saw a guy with a.
Yeah, I did see. You did go through it, but we'll keep going, and I'll tell you which one it is.
All right.
Can you see my arrow? No.
No, I can't see your arrow.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Look, people.
Out here.
And don't be afraid, guys. If you think that you're incapable of doing it, well, you're wrong, because we've had people in their 50s doing it. We've had people, young kids doing it. And weight, there's no issue with weight as well. So you've got full support there. So it's just something to try. At least give it a go. Because you just never know if you found your sport or not, you know. People always, I remember going through Talbot, that people, oh, look, give team sport a go, you know, like your basketball, you know, all those mainstream sports. But I'm thinking, well, what about something, you know, like climbing, you know? That's the one there. See that guy, he's got his foot on that stirrup there. That's to give extra lift. And you could see that person there. I think that person may be suffering from spina bifida, I'm pretty sure. So they can't use their legs. So that person's reliant on a lot of that pulling the harness. And then you've got the side climber next to him, supporting him. So look, we won't, and the walls are quite easy to climb too, you know. Once you get comfortable with it and you get enjoyment out of it, you then go to a more challenging route up the wall. So you're actually challenging yourself. So you're not challenging anyone else, you're challenging yourself. And that really gives you a lot of, well, it does for me anyway, it gives me a lot of uplift, and it makes you feel like, you know, good inside. You know.
Is there Michael, is there a cost associated with to come
usually, yeah, we usually ask $10 on the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we can subsidise that though, but we don't have cash at the moment to do that.
Okay.
But I hope one day I'd like to do that. But it's $10 for like between 9 and 12.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is there adequate parking, disabled parking?
Yes, on the day we so it's a kind of a funny setup, because it's kind of like in an industrial area. How they got the big warehouses and the car parks. So the gym is situated inside one of those warehouses, but we've got ample car parking there. But unfortunately, there's warehouses that operate on a business level, but we tell them on the day to reserve the parking for our participants, for disabled people. So we actually reserve it for the day. We have had no issues with people coming in, and we've had people come in via taxis as well, so drop-offs.
Okay.
It's great.
So accessibility for wheelchairs is
there is no problem. We've got change rooms for people with disabilities, purpose change rooms, yeah.
And toilets appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Universal toilets, and it's all level, yeah. We're hoping that the other gyms are set up for that too. We wouldn't otherwise go ahead with the other gyms if they weren't set up that way.
I know you said it, Michael, but whereabout is it?
It's Hope Street in Brunswick.
Is that relative to, say,
okay,
Brunswick Road and St Kilda?
Do you know Sydney Road? Okay, Sydney Road. Just thinking of the roads when you get the next major road. Don't quote me on it. is there Glen Lyon?
We can Google it.
Sorry?
I said we can Google it.
Yeah, Google it, can you please?
Yeah.
I can Google it.
But it's in Brunswick, and it's usually on a Saturday, is it?
No,
Sunday.
Sunday. The next come and try day will be on a Sunday, Duke. So between 9 and 12 o'clock. Hope Street, Brunswick. I'll just Google it for you, mate, and I'll let you know.
North Walls.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
between Albion and Victoria Street.
Thank you. Yes.
Here it is.
It's called North Walls, is it?
Yeah, it depends where you're coming from. Duke, where are you coming from?
McLeod.
So you'd be coming from over east way. So
Yeah, I'd come down Bell Street, then come down Nicholson.
I was going to say, yeah,
and then get into Victoria.
yeah. Well, any issues, I'll send out the registration form, but I can easily give you instructions on how to get there. That's no issue.
Are there any disclaimers and medical things that we have to sign off?
There is a questionnaire asking about your level of ability, and there's also there is a clause, I'm pretty sure. Let me think about that, because we're working on it. I'm pretty sure there is, but the thing is, we're covered by liability anyway. So
Okay.
Sports Climbing Victoria covers the whole lot. So whatever happens, be no issue.
And you both, I play sport.
Yeah.
What's the classification process you have to go through if you want to get an understanding of what level you're at, things like that?
It's kind of similar to the basketball. Like you would go to on the day of the competition, they will assess you. And they'll say, okay, and I'm not really clear on the classifications, mind you, but they will say, oh, like you're, S2 or something like that, and then you would go into that category of competing with other people with S2. And mind you, the pool is very small because there's not many people that are in the same classifications. It's that diverse, I could say. So it's not broad at all. I'm probably in one. I know one other guy that I'm classified with, and that's in Australia. That's
okay.
Yeah.
And is that classification national or international?
No, it's national. However, we want to go up to the international standard.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I think the world-class standardisation is actually being changed. It's changing as we speak to actually. So they're on the same level with, I guess, similar to other countries, because each country is different, but I think they want to change it so when it comes up to the Paralympics, everyone understands what classification is required for international competition. So I think that's what we're doing at the moment, is meeting the international standard. So that's still going through, that's evolving as we speak.
In the likes of competition, is there a certain amount that the person on the guide ropes allowed to help lift the person? Does the climber have to do a certain amount and then the assistant only allowed to do a certain amount?
Well, Noodles, can I call you Noodles? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to competition, they can't have a helper. It's that.
Okay.
Okay. So when it comes to competition, it's no help at all. So it's only up to the level they can actually compete on. And it's like, and I haven't competed, although I want to. So I think they got the national championships in November, which I'll participate in. But I understand that you've got to climb with your own ability, but once you actually slip off, that's it, you're out. So it's quite, and I don't know whether the people with very limited mobility, whether they actually do have assistance. That I don't know. That might be possible. I'm not sure. But I think that's still a work in progress. Hence why we're still pretty young in you know, venture. So, because everything's got to still be finalised, you know.
Michael, you mentioned that you might have a video.
Oh no, we're actually trying to create a video.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have a video. So we're actually hiring someone as we speak to do that, to do video content.
Yeah.
So we can actually upload it on our website, on our Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any YouTube videos of this?
You know what? I haven't looked at it. So there may be YouTube videos. If you probably look, actually, I might check out. You do YouTube, guys. There might be one of our participants climbing, and you can have it check it out for yourself. Sarah Larkham climbing.
So you haven't done any videos of yourself?
No, I haven't. No. No, I haven't, unfortunately. So there are videos. Now, if I just, I can just hyperlink, and I'm hoping I can actually put this into
in the chat.
So if I do the chat, one of our participants. So, guys, if you'd like to have, Sarah Larkham is competing now. She's an amputee. She's competing as we speak internationally. I think that's an interview with her. It'll probably show her climbing as well. If you'd like to play it, you can.
Yep. Sarah Larkham climbing here. I'll put it on screen.
Yeah, just have a quick look.
Which one is it? The high?
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, I think it's got some music to it, guys. So you might want to put the volume down a bit.
Yo, ready for this?
I think I've got to. I've got to do some pokery with the sound first, though.
Okay.
Turn on. No, original.
I thought that was you, Michael, in the background doing those words.
It could have been, actually. It could have got away with it.
All right, hopefully this will work. Oh, this is 35 minutes, Michael.
Oh, yeah, no, you give that. Well, that's probably the interview. If you go there.
The conditions up primo. Don't know about the mountains. I think it's a little bit soggy still up there, and I know.
Yeah, go fast forward. There's Sarah there. If you just play, so Sarah's in the bottom there.
Salt Lake and many other competitions. And I suppose it gives us an opportunity to today is to find out a little bit about yourself and what, and I suppose how you've got into climbing and what it means to you, and I suppose your journey through this beautiful sport that we all love of rock climbing, and obviously the competition. But if you are, it's another aspect of the sport which is fantastic, and there's that competitive edge, and I suppose, and then probably we'll go into a little bit.
Let her answer the question, mate.
Listeners out there,
He talks a lot, doesn't he? This guy.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I guess Sarah, the person, and then obviously tell us about Sarah, the climber.
So I am a research scientist. I feel like there are a lot of scientists in climbing, which is like, I don't know if there's a link there or something. We're all
analytical mind. That's what it's all about.
Maybe that's it. I think my sister has actually told me that I replaced my PhD with climbing because I just have to be hyper focused on something. Yeah.
Does seem to be a bit of a personality trait,
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, now I'm hyper focused on climbing. So I live in Melbourne. I've been climbing since just about 2019. Had a few ups and downs in that time. I broke an ankle, and obviously COVID, and so and I'm also a member of Adaptive Climbing Victoria, and we put on Come and Try Days for people with disabilities in climbing in gyms around Melbourne, so it's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, I saw there was a.
You probably go up to their cell lead.
Well, I was watching it, going, yeah, like it was pretty amazing to watch. And what blew me away is I think it was the men's division, like really strong and moving really well. Yeah, and obviously for people, we'll put the link in the description, and I'll do some Maju pokery. But it's fantastic to watch all the disciplines climb and how well they actually do climb. Yeah,
there are some amazing climbers on the international competition scene. They're super solid, and the route setters do not go easy on us.
No. Well, we know one of them, Mrs. Cully LeBreton. Yeah, no, and we had a good yarn to her about the comp. Now, I suppose for people, obviously, that are listening in and can't see the footage of the competition. How does it all work, Sarah? Because obviously, when we watch the comp, there's all sorts of different divisions on.
That was a.
Yeah.
That last guy was.
He was a para. Now, I usually use I don't tie my legs, but obviously he can't use his legs, so that's the way he can climb. So there's a different classification yet again. But if you YouTube, I guess those that are interested, you can YouTube just put like climbing, adaptive climbing, any of those words, you'll find a lot of those, disabled climbers going up walls. So, but I think we've got we're intending to do a clip of our own adaptive climbing studio where we do our own climbing with our participants. So I will actually next time broadcast it to you guys if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I'll keep you in the loop. So it gives you an idea who's involved, and you can meet all the committee people. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Yeah, no worries.
Are there any final questions?
So there was a couple of questions. So you don't need to be that. How strong do you need to be? Do you have to pull yourself up?
Well, only the amount that you are capable of. Yeah. Yep. You don't have to be super strength woman, no one's that. Look, those people that compete are obviously have done it for a while and they're pretty good at it. But look, as for beginners, you got a lot of support. You don't have to be super strong.
Right. And like you say, you've got a higher harness, because I'm at like a T2.
Yeah, we've got physios there that would actually look at your capability. And from the registration form that you've put out, it actually asks you questions like they would, I don't know, what a doctor would ask, what's your level of ability, are you able to get up? Are you able to walk? Or are you wheelchair restricted? Are you, so it's all those questions. So they'll then assess and get to know you as a person on paper. But when you arrive, we'll talk and we'll get you suited up to see which one's the best. They're all different harnesses.
Sure.
But only the ones that you feel comfortable with, they will work with you,
Oh, great. That sounds good. And what date is it going to be?
It's going to be in September, but unfortunately...
You don't have a date?
No, we don't have a specified date, but it will be in September. Look, and I know I've had a few issues, we've had a few issues with people asking why can't it be later on the day. Like I said, the gyms need to cater for other people, and it's the only time of the week that these gyms don't have people or traffic coming through. So they're reserved at probably, between 9 and 12 would be the best times that they said for us. So 9 o'clock can be early, I understand that, but at this stage, that's all we can work with.
Yeah. And how many people are able to go through at that time?
Look, it varies. We like to have people like, look, we don't want everyone to turn up at once, but that's it's a nightmare, because then, you know, if people got to start and wait. Last time we had it, last month, we had people coming in early, some coming at 10, some coming at later stage, and we catered for 15 people, and it worked a treat. So, so it ended up being like, in that space confines of the climb, we had 4, probably 5 people at a time.
Oh, good. Okay, so I just sort of feel like, you know, 15 people turned up at 9 o'clock.
No, we wouldn't ask that. We would just say, well, what time would suit? And then we'd say, look, would you prefer to come earlier? You know, so we get a sense of, you know, who's going to come in at 10, or who's going to come at 9, who's going to come in at 11:30. Yeah. So, but they all need to know that it's $10, you know, for the rate. So, but I think it's worth it. It is.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
It is, for the experience. I mean, and like you say,
that's for equipment, that's for utilising the space, you know, and there's volunteers there, which fantastic. Why not? Yeah.
That's right. Well, thank you, Michael.
And if not for, you know, guys, if not for, you know, the sport itself, then we're a great community. You'd love the people there, and even the volunteers are fantastic. So, yeah, and we belong on the Community North Walls Facebook page as well. So, and that's how we, as individuals, we can actually ask for people who are able-bodied, oh, can you help? Do you want to do a climb Thursday night? Yeah, sure. So I get to go with an able-bodied who can help me up. So fantastic.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time, Michael. It's been really interesting and to learn about, and I'm hoping that we can help spread the word to
absolutely. So yeah, next time I'll let you know. I'll give you some content and videos. So but I'll also express anyone we'll invite anyone who's interested in doing the Come and Try Day in September. Okay. Yeah, I'll give it a shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch, and we'll help sort of push it through our channels as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, guys, and good luck.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you. And just before we finish the recording, I'll just say that I've put a link in the chat for the Facebook page of Adaptive
Climbing Victoria.
Yep. So it's you can keep up with their information there. So if you go to Facebook and search on Adaptive Climbing Vic, you should find their Facebook page. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you very much. See you guys.